have any Recur passes?
I do not.
Do you plan on?
So what?
Do you plan on messing with Recur at all, or no?
I did hear that they had teased a 3D collectible, and if they do that, like if I get like a couple of, if I can get the real monsters like in their 3D, yeah, I'll totally get those. I think I've just been spoiled by Veve that outside of the 2D art and the posters, they're cool 3D, and some of them are animated, and everyone else, that just has like, the pictures, the JPEGs, they're still cool, and the artwork is interesting, and they are the first NFTs of some of those that are going to be out. But I almost feel like that is kind of going backwards a little bit. But if they do come out with like a 3D Riptar, 3D Hello Kitty, I will get those. Yes. Okay,
very cool. Another question that came in the chat from Tito420 Discord. Yes, by the way, Tito's in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you got to join the Discord. We talk all craziness, all things collectible related, but he wants to know, what is your opinion or your views about the metaverse? What do you think it's going to be like?
Oh, well, I think it depends on what years we're talking about. If we're doing just next year, I think it'll probably just be, I'm hoping it'll be a bunch of land where you can view on your tablet or computer and be like, oh, hey, this is where my avatar is, this is where the building is, and I could own this plot of land. I don't know if they'll reinstate the cars like the DeLoreans, have them drive again. But even if next year it's just saying walking around, and even if it takes you like 6 years to go from here to here, because it's probably gonna be very large, as long as you can say, hey, this is my land, I can do whatever I want with it. Yeah, I can have a house, I can, put more Omi in, I can build, so instead of 1 story, it's 2 stories, and I want to have a big house, I have all the Marvel ones, so I will have the big Avengers logo up on the house, and I'll have so I will definitely get 2 houses. I will definitely have multiple properties. Marvel for one, DC and everything else will take the other houses. And then I guess we'll have Pokemon take take other houses when we get that.
Yeah.
But as long as it has that, I'll be very happy to start.
Yeah, man. I heard you mention, I hear you mention Earth 2 a lot on your streams, and I'm a little out the loop. So I'm wondering if there might be some other people out the loop, but maybe you could fill me in on what I've been missing with Earth 1 and 2.
Yeah, sure. So what they did was pretty genius, and there was a lot of copycats right afterwards. They partnered with Mapbox, and they said, okay, well, let's do what Niantic did. Niantic took the what was a geocaching game, and they said, okay, all these major locations, instead of being places for geocaches, now they're gyms, and now they're Pokemon hotspots or whatever. And they did that with Mapbox. They said, let's just take the map of the whole world, and we'll call it Earth 2. It's digital, and what they did was you were able to buy places like Mount Everest, and you're able to buy Wall Street, and you're able to buy the White House. And I was so salty when, even though I was born in Peru, I consider myself very much American, where there was this Asian guy from South Korea who bought the Statue of Liberty for like $64,000. And I was like, man, that American piece of history is now not in the hands of an American. It's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. So I did like a whole video on how race and religion could affect that metaverse game. And that's why I know land is going to be so huge, because people were buying land at the starting price, let's say like 10 cents a tile. It reached like, the US was like $60 a tile afterwards. So you're buying it for something for 10 cents a tile, and you could sell it for 60. And that's normal land. That's not including like the big landmarks. Like this one guy bought 4 tiles that make up the Rio de Janeiro, the Christ statue, the big Christ one,
right,
and wound up selling it for literally 1,000x for $5,000. And I was like, ah! So I bought it for less than $5. He bought 4 tiles for like maybe $1, and then he winds up selling it for $5,000. I was like, this is the type of thing that I know is going to be its location in the VVverse. If you're going to have places next to Marvel City or VV Land, whatever it's called, pay whatever you need to pay. And I'm so thankful that I have this much OMI that I don't care what OMI is at that point, 10 cents, 30 cents. I will put a couple $100,000 worth into just the land. Some will be strategic locations, some I'll just do for my own projects. But Earth 2 was like the first big one, the first one that did that with real world places. And that's the only thing I did not sell for OMI. I sold everything else except for Earth 2. So
wow.
Very bullish on it.
Well, I mean, it sounds super dope. I need to investigate because I don't know much about it.
Yeah, they eventually they will have, like, already your property, it already generates these things called jewels, which you can break down and you can shatter, and you could put on this thing called mentars, and the mentars, they detect essence, which is basically their crypto.
That was my next question, because that I heard the word essence too many times than I felt comfortable with this morning. It was too early to be listening about essence. I was like, what the hell are they talking about, man?
Yeah, so they just partnered with Polygon Matic, and so it will be on there. And they just hired a guy that didn't used to work at Binance like years ago. He left Binance his job for this job. So I'm pretty sure they will have a Binance listing next year. And the essence, again, you can't get it. The only way to get essence right now is to buy land, buy some jewels, and that's the only way to get it. But those of us that have had land for a year, I have 30,000 essence. So that comes out and that's $1.
Bam.
Yeah.
By the way, Biscuits is asking if you have a link because she's interested. It sounds pretty cool. And I agree.
Sure. So, Biscuits, when we're done, go to any one of my YouTube videos, and the link will be down below for Earth 2. And there's also a referral code. So if you, let's say if you guys want to start Earth 2 together, and you say, you get a referral code, or if Biscuits wants to use mine, it's down in my description as well. And she wants to buy, let's say, $100 worth of land in Chavez Topia, which is a mega city in Antarctica. She can go and buy $100 worth, and if she uses my referral code, she gets $5 back, basically 5% off, and I get $5. Now she could not use the referral code and nobody gets anything, but if she uses that, she gets some and I get some. So that's a big stream of revenue that a lot of people can get, and eventually you'll be able to rent out your land as well. You can sell the jewels that you get, you can sell. I get 50 something jewels a day, and the jewels, they sell for 25 cents, so it's not a lot, but it's still if you wanted to.
That adds up though.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I got thousands of jewels. So.
And it's on your cell phone?
You can do it on your cell phone. Just do it on your cell phone. You can do it on tablet, computer. So what I wind up doing is, all I do outside of buying new land in Chavez Topia. So I got 15,000 tiles. I have, how much essence? I have 169 properties, but most of them are in Antarctica. And so that's what everything is worth. The essence is 31.7 thousand. And the in-game money I have $6,000 in there that I will use specifically for essence. You will be able to buy that hopefully in-game soon. And a lot of people that have been here for a while, they're just going to cash out, and I'll be like, yeah, it's too early, too soon. So I'll use that to buy some more.
Wow. So you bought in Antarctica because it's more cost effective, I'm assuming? It was
at the time it was, but they're going to have a warring world in there also, where you can choose to not be part of the warring world. None of your stuff will get messed up or anything, but there will be different benefits to being in the warring world. If you fight a certain amount of battles, you get a certain amount of loot, or if you fight other you can have guilds in there, and there'll be random monsters that you can fight, and as long as you get certain hits on them, you'll be able to get some loot. And why I chose Antarctica is because you can't get there unless you sail by boat or you fly by plane, and they just bought the drone video game that's been in development for a while. So I most likely there'll be planes, and I feel like Antarctica is very well isolated, where we're going to see attacks coming, and if we can see those attacks coming, we can prepare for it. And there's a mountain behind us. Well, I'm so that's why I did that. And yeah, it was cheap. Nobody else was there.
Interesting, man. That's dope, man. I'm glad I asked that question. I think we might have lost Joe for a second.
Yeah, I see he was frozen there for a second. I don't know what happened to him, but I did see in the rest of the chat, people were going about Brendan Z was asking about sports, what sports I liked growing up. So I was a pretty good New Yorker, and I liked the Islanders and I liked the New York Jets.
All right.
But I liked Mark McGuire, man. I was a Cardinals fan. So
Okay.
just
Randy.
growing up, him like, hey, you're back.
I'm back. Oh my goodness. The live died.
Is the live back?
No, the live, it looks like it's not.
I think it was you and everything else was still good.
Like New York Jets. Oh, I think the live is still going on.
Oh, is it going?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's still going on.
It made me
Okay.
the host. It made me the host while you were gone.
Okay. Great recovery. I'm back. Okay, sports teams. Let's go.
Yeah, so I like the Cardinals for a while. So I had Ken Griffey Jr. Like, hi, this is Ken Griffey Jr. Let's play Major League Baseball. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
So I would play that a lot. And I like the Cardinals. I like Mark McGuire, Delino DeShields, Ray Langford. John. I was really good at that game. I got intimate with the team, and my dad was a Cardinals fan. My mom was a Mets fan. So we would go to see games every now and then. When the Cardinals come to play, like once a year at Shea Stadium, back when it was Shea Stadium, and when Mark McGuire that season was about to break that record, 62 homers in a year. That was just so much fun. That was just like, I got to see part of history. And granted, he might have been doing stuff he might not have supposed to be doing. But I got lucky. I got to be really young when the Jets went to the AFC Championship, in '98. That was such a good season. That was such a good year. And then yeah, I got to see Cardinals win a couple World Series, growing up. So it's been fun. So those were my teams.
So what about TV shows? Did you have any like favorite shows? You were like, yo, I cannot miss this week. Growing up and everything.
When I was, I don't say young adults when you're like 11, but I'd say Friends was really good. I really enjoyed that show a lot because I was just, I don't know, they were like the cool older people that were just, they weren't like old, but they were older. They were just like on their own, and they were friends, and that was like that was cool. So I definitely like that. And Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls, I did not get along with my parents too well when I was younger. And Gilmore Girls is about the show about this mom that had a daughter at 16 because she didn't get along with her parents, and she made it on her own. It's like, you can do it on your own. So that was a good show. That spoke to me a lot as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I obviously you were, I missed a lot there. Did you mention your favorite teams on all sports? I'm not sure.
I really only did I like, so Islanders just because I was on Long Island. But then when I was playing NHL, like NHL something 2004, the Flyers, I just liked. They're a really good team. And when I was stationed in New Jersey, I got to see a few of the Flyers games as well in Philly. But yeah, just New York Jets, St. Louis Cardinals. I wasn't really into basketball too much. I watched a couple of Knicks games, but I wasn't really into basketball. My uncle actually worked for the Heat though, and when they won the championship back in, I forget what year it was, but actually I should be able to see real quick. They actually, because he worked for him, he would just do the stats. Like he would write down everything that would happen. He actually got a ring. And it wasn't, yeah, it was like 2010, 2011 season when Miami Heat won. And so he got a world champion ring. And now the players got like ones that were worth like $30,000, but he got one that was worth like $5 or something. But I felt it was heavy. It was it was like a pound. It was like 1 pound. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Yeah,
That is dope. That is crazy.
yeah. He would get a bunch of really cool, cool pictures and cool stuff. So yeah.
Very cool. So, okay. What about another memory we can bring up? Your first car. What was that? What kind of car was it?
It was my mom's Ford Contour that I bought from her. I had I had these, like, when I was a kid, I would get, and this kind of pissed me off a little bit. I would get like these savings bonds for like they were supposed to be like for college. And a lot of times, like when I was growing up, like that was my Christmas gift. It was a savings bond because I liked money. I like to count money. But then, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to college, so I'll give you these bonds for like the car. And it crapped out in like a year. I was like, well, you know what, Mom, you got the better end of that deal. You taught me a lesson. Don't buy old cars. Don't buy old Ford. So then I got a Chevy Cavalier. What'd you say? That's a
I was like, that was actually my pop's last car, Ford Contour, whenever that came
out. But then I got a Chevy Cavalier, bought it all on my own, and that was a convertible. That was sweet. That was nice. And then the next car I got after that was my Civic, the 2012 Honda Civic, and had it for years. I will have it until I get my Tesla next year.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Yes, I want to get a Tesla too. It's
which one?
I don't know if you saw, they had a news report on people purposely keying the Tesla in parking lots.
Yeah, I've seen that. People hate on that car, so I don't know why.
I mean, what
care about that? Why are people doing that? Just
I think it's because they just don't like it. They just hear people are so tribal with that. Like they just don't like it because of X, Y, and the media tells them that they don't like Elon Musk because they don't like the 1%, or they don't like some old out of date facts that maybe MSNBC tries to push or whatever. I've been hearing that like forever, like, oh, competition is coming. And I looked into it, I was like, yeah, no way. Tesla won. That they overtook it. And that's why I went all in on them years ago, last 2 years. Just because I saw what they were doing. Nobody else could match.
For sure. So, okay, all right. So we spoke about your Pokemon cars. We spoke about, the cars even before the Pokemon. What about,
so with the cars, I'm sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't move out until I was 19. So when I was like 17, 18, and I didn't have my own place and I was on a budget, you don't want to take a girl to a hotel unless you know if it's like gonna be good. So Dokta knows what I'm talking about. So I would get busy in the Ford Contour, and it was very small. Yes. And I remember seriously thinking, like, I'm going to sell this and I'm going to buy a hearse because I am not doing it in this car anymore. So then I thought, like, well, if I'm going to spend the money on that, that's probably a couple months rent. I might as well just move out and get my place. So I did that. That's just a fun story.
that is pretty good. That is pretty good. Yeah, it's that's pretty.
Yeah, definitely identify with that
one. Yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely a benefit of living on your own.
I actually had a question though, man. Right now, what do you think are the most important things for somebody that's in Veve to be doing before the whole MTL thing comes through and before the Veveverse comes?
Find out what your goals are, short, medium, and long term, and try to determine how you will go about doing that. And if Veve can help you do that, I mean, if you're going to need money, I would say take a look at how many gems you have or how much things are worth X amount of gems. Weigh that amount of money that you can pull out, most likely out of tax, and see if that is going to be help you reach your goals quicker, or will leaving it in there in some NFTs and watching them grow, will that help? Play out every scenario. Find out, okay, well, what is the best way to do whatever your goal is, and go through, like, am I Dokta Strange looking at 14,000,007 different ones? Go through each one, no matter how outrageous it might be, and figure out the pros and cons of each, and then go from there. Break things down to first principles, and see what you know to be absolutely true, and then go from there.
Is there anything more specific though that people should be looking to do? I mean, we only probably have a month or so before things start really changing, so it's not a lot of time to make adjustments or whatever, but you got a couple weeks. So is there anything someone should be doing? Should they be storing gems? Should they be selling something? Should they be holding? Should they be buying specific pieces you could think of? Anything in that realm?
Sure.
You know, what do you think?
I think people should ask themselves, what will hurt less? If they sell something right now for, X amount of gems, just to have gems, just in case when MTL happens, things go on sale. If that happens, great. Or they could sell things that they have right now for gems, but then as soon as MTL happens and they start marketing that same day, suddenly all the people that were waiting for MTL come in and they start kicking up marketing, and things go crazy, and it goes high. If you are okay with saying, like, hey, you know what, I am fine with that, I will take that risk, then that's fine. Or you could keep everything, and knowing that you might need money in a month, and say, like, well, okay, if a bunch of people come in and goes high, that's great. Or if you keep that thing, and then suddenly it's worth half of what it is next month, you have those two bads, and think of which one will hurt less, and do that. Which one will take up least amount of your mental real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do with OMI. I buy it. I know I buy it because if I buy it and it goes up, great. If I buy it and it goes down, that's not a big deal for me. I would rather buy it and it go down versus me not buying it and then it go up. Like, that would hurt worse.
Right.
So,
I like that. So Strange, I don't want to step on your toes. Was that was there another question behind that one?
But those two were kind of paired together, so I just wanted to get those out back to back. So
yeah, sure.
So do you have any of the old toys? I know you mentioned the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have any of those old school toys that you had when you were a kid?
No, I think the oldest one that I had was like some of my N64 games, which I gave to my friend Jesse and Ashley. We just looked at them. We just played a few of them when I went to Washington a few months ago. But there was that was pretty much it. Outside of that, I don't really have anything from back in the day.
So if you could bring back one that you had, is there one that that whatever it was? It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. When I was like 19, I remember taking a video on one of like my phones, and it was of my Pokemon Gold team that I had I had put in well over 1,000 hours into it, like breeding Pokemon and all that. I had dozens of Pokemon at level 100, hand raised, no rare candies. And I remember thinking, like, if someone were to offer me $1 million for this, I would say no. And I was poor AF. I was living in a place worse than this. I was working like 3 jobs. It was not good. And now thinking about it now, like, obviously that I should have taken $1 million. It'd be stupid. Not that I was ever offered that, but that would be the one thing, because those internal batteries die after a while. So I lost that game. I don't know where it went. But if I could have like one gaming related wish, it would be to get that game back and be able, because back in the day, the first 2 generations, you can't migrate those over to the newer games. From generation 3 on, you can. I could play my new Pokemon Brilliant Diamond or Sword and Shield with Pokemon that I got from Generation 3 back in like 2000, 2002. But it would be to have to play with those Pokemon again.
Dang. Yeah, man. It's tough. That's gotta hurt. You dedicate so much to it, and then you don't have it, you know?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, gaming related thing from my childhood that I want.
Goodness. Okay, well,
Skyrim.
Skyrim?
Yeah, so it reminds me of playing this game called Skyrim, man. It's the game you can get lost in for hours, put hours and hours into.
that was a good game.
Yeah, man. I mean, you could set up your crib, you go around, you could be like whatever. It was like a Grand Theft Auto, but you know, of I guess what, ancient times, whatever you call, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, the sad part is like once the next one comes out, yeah, it might be a couple years later, but once it comes out and it's for that next system, you looking like, damn, I put all that time, my crib, like now I gotta start over. Like, I don't know if I could do this, but and I think you were bringing that up before about the game you used to play, how you were saying like that I can't, you know, port over any of this stuff. Like, that's it.
It's rough. That's where I think Pokemon has done really well. Since Generation 3, there are ways to migrate over. And that's got to feel so special to someone that's like 27, 28 years old, where their first game was Pokemon, you know, in that third generation, Ruby, Emerald, Sapphire, and being able to play with that over 20 years. That I'm so jealous of those people.
You know, I played World of Warcraft a lot when it first came out for years, and put countless hours of gameplay into it, money, just everything. And at the end of the day, I mean, the game still exists, but I can't just go back and, you know, sell my skins or my gear or whatever, right? But that's what really attracts me to Veve, NFTs in general. That I, you know, let's just say I have the Mickey NFT and I walk away. I don't log on to Veve for 5 years. I can come back and still sell it.
Yeah.
You know, that's.
I think what's interesting that you touched on is how I just read something recently saying how technically all these kids that are playing Fortnite are technically buying NFTs, because when you buy skins, you own them. And I don't know fully what they were saying, but they were trying to allude to them being minted to something to where you really own them, you know. I don't know. I don't play Fortnite.
I don't know.
I don't think you can sell the skins that you get, though.
Okay.
I think in CS:GO you can get loot, you can get items like really cool knives, and you can sell the knives, you can sell the items. But for Fortnite, I think for all of the money that they make, the billions each year, that is not. I don't. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think those skins and things are transferable or sellable.
Yeah, I don't think they're transferable. I think it's just the fact that when you buy them, they said that it's basically running in the background, that the person that buys them really owns them, though. More in the sense of like Veve, like we don't have any particular wallet linked to Veve, but they're telling us we own them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So they were saying like it all runs in the background, and then at one point they'll roll it out and make it to where everything will be inoperable. Yeah, because all those skins, certain characters, they want you to be able to use them in the metaverse and use them as your avatars. Yeah, so they're gonna have like actual value at some point. So I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that type of thing.